XXV. Beowulf brings his trophies Hrothgar's gratitude. Beowulf relates his last exploit. Beowulf spake, offspring of Ecthio, lo, we blithely have brought thee, bairn of Healfdene, prince of the Scyldings, these presents from ocean which thine eye looketh on, for an emblem of glory. 5 I came off alive from this, narrowly scaping. In war, neath the water the work with great pains I performed, and the fight had been finished quite nearly, had God not defended me. I failed in the battle ought to accomplish, aided by Hrunting, 10 though that weapon was worthy, but the wielder of earth folk. God was fighting with me. Gave me willingly to see on the wall a heavy old hand sword hanging in splendor. He guided most often the lorn and the friendless, that I swung as a weapon. The wards of the house, then 15 I killed in the conflict, when occasion was given me. Then the battle sword burned, the brand that was lifted, as the blood current sprang, hottest of war sweats, seizing the hilt, from my foes I offbore it, I avenged as I ought to their acts of malignity, 20 the murder of Danemen. I then make thee this promise. Heorot is freed from monsters. Thou'lt be able in Heorot careless to slumber with thy throng of heroes, and the thanes of thy people every and each, of greater and lesser. And thou needest not fear for them from the self-same direction 25, as thou formerly fearedst, O, folklord of Scyldings, end day for earlmen. To the age-hoary man then. The famous sword is presented to Hrothgar. The gray-haired chieftain, the gold-fashioned sword hilt, old work of giants, was thereupon given since the fall of the fiends, it fell to the keeping 30 of the wielder of Danemen, the wondersmith's labor. And the bad-mooted being abandoned this world then opponent of God, victim of murder, and also his mother. It went to the keeping of the best of the world kings, where waters encircle, 35 who the Scot divided in Scylding dominion. Hrothgar looks closely at the old sword. Hrothgar discoursed, the hilt he regarded, the ancient heirloom where an old-time contention's beginning was graven, the gurgling currents, the flood slew thereafter the race of the giants, 40 they had proved themselves daring. That people was loth to. It had belonged to a race hateful to God. The Lord everlasting, through lash of the billows the Father gave them final requital. So in letters of rune on the clasp of the handle gleaming and golden, 'twas graven exactly, 45 set forth and said, whom that sword had been made for, finest of irons, who first it was wrought for, wreathed at its handle and gleaming with serpents. The wise one then said, silent they all were. Hrothgar praises Beowulf, son of old Healfdene. He may say unrefuted 50 who performs, mid the folk men fairness and truth, the hoary old ruler remembers the past, that better by birth is this bairn of the nobles. Thy fame is extended through faraway countries, good friend Beowulf, o'er all of the races, 55 thou holdest all firmly, hero-like strength with prudence of spirit. I'll prove myself grateful, as before we agreed on. Thou granted for long shalt become a great comfort to kinsmen and comrades. Hermod's career is again contrasted with Beowulf's. A help unto heroes. Hermod became not 60 such to the Scyldings, successors of Ecgwella. He grew not to please them, but grievous destruction. And diresome death woes to Danemen attracted. He slew in anger his table companions, trustworthy counselors, till he turned off lonely 65 from world joys away, wide famous ruler. Though high-ruling heaven in hero strength raised him, in might exalted him, o'er men of all nations made him supreme, yet a murderous spirit grew in his bosom. He gave then no ring gems. A wretched failure of a king, to give no jewels to his retainers. 70 to the Danes after custom. Endured he unjoyful standing the straits from strife that was raging, longsome folk sorrow. Learn then from this, lay hold of virtue. Though laden with winters, I have sung thee these measures. 'Tis a marvel to tell it. Hrothgar moralizes. 75 How all-ruling God from greatness of spirit giveth wisdom to children of men, manor and earlship. All things he ruleth. He often permitteth the mood thought of man of the illustrious lineage to lean to possessions. 80 allows him earthly delights at his manor. A high burg of heroes to hold in his keeping, maketh portions of earth folk hear him, and a wide-reaching kingdom so that, wisdom failing him, he himself is unable to reckon its boundaries. 85 He liveth in luxury, little debars him, nor sickness nor age, no treachery sorrow becloudeth his spirit, conflict nowhere, No sword hate appeareth, but all of the world doth wend as he wisheth. The worse he knoweth not, 90 till errant arrogance inward pervading waxeth and springeth, when the warder is sleeping, the guard of the soul. With sorrows encompassed, too sound is his slumber, the slayer is near him, who with bow and arrow aimeth in malice. Or rather, perhaps, the inlaid or damascened weapon, cf. 2457 and note.